Good. Good morning, everyone. We're concluding the mimer that we began last week about Atat Tzave, that what exactly is the function and the necessity of Moses in every generation. we have, excuse me 1 minute. Why do you have to have a Moses? It says every generation there has to be a Moses. The Jewish people are not lacking leaders. We got leader. Every Jew is a leader, not lacking leaders. In fact, they say the more leaders there are, the worse, because everybody disagrees with everybody else. And that's what it was with Moses. Everybody disagreed with Moses because everyone's a leader. And they said, who are you to be a leader over us? So the Rebbe is explaining really why there has to be such a person like Moses, that it could be that everyone disagrees with him. For instance, King David. Everyone disagreed with King David. Right, as all of his men were against him. Moses constantly were disagreeing with all the prophets. Everybody disagreed with him. When evil people come along, then people agree with them. Like Korach comes along, everyone agreed with Korach to serve the worship the golden calf. Everyone was enamored with the golden calf. That was the big hope, right? The golden calf, to the degree that God wanted to wipe out all the Jewish people. Golden calf. So what do you have to have a Moses for? What do you have to have Moses? So the answer is you have to have a Moses for two reasons. Number one, the people know what to do. You have to people who know what to do with it. People on their own. You can have the Torah, you can have the commandments, and yet people just don't know what to do, how to do with it. The people, because selfishness, that's our big nemesis. Selfishness. And selfishness is a thing that God created. He wants there to be us to feel ourselves. And Moses, every generation, there has to be one Moses that comes along and tells everybody, listen, the reason that you feel selfish is because you have to use that feeling of selfishness, of individuality, of uniqueness. You have to use it to serve the Creator and do only what the Creator wants. And a lot of times what the Creator wants is exactly the opposite of what you want and what you understand. And that's ideally the idea of Moshiach, that Moshiach is going to teach everybody not to care about themselves, not to care about going to heaven. It's not going to be an issue at all. The issue will only be, I want to do what the Creator wants. What the Creator wants. And that, generally speaking, is a true rabbi. A true rabbi is a person that all he wants to do is what God wants. He's not taking himself into consideration in his all. As soon as he is, then he's bribed. That's called lo tikach shochan. He's bribed and he convinces everybody else to be bribed. You have big examples of that in Judaism. Yeravam ben Nevat was one, the shining, terrible example of a Jew that knew the whole Torah, and he led the 10 tribes into idolatry. So naturally, people don't want to do what God wants. They don't want to do what God wants. So it comes along, there has to be one person who teaches everybody, don't necessarily follow what you want. You have to do what God wants. Sometimes it could be you want what God wants. That's good. But generally speaking, not. And that's what it means that Moses crushes everybody up. He crushes everyone up. He crushes he crushes everyone as it forces everyone to internally, on their own, do things and want things that normally they wouldn't want. Moses. And when Moses wasn't there, we saw what happened. Everybody worshipped the golden calf. They thought that was okay. They thought Moses wasn't coming down, so they worshiped the golden calf. So that was Moses. That was one thing. Then we have that. That's not the end of it. That's not the end of what Moses does. That's just like sort of the beginning. And that he convinces the people to do what God wants. Then there's Mordechai. Mordechai is another, a higher level, takes the whole thing into moves it into a new gear. Mordechai. Mordechai, he brings out what Moses began, Jewish identity, to the degree that Jews were willing to actually die, almost certain death, if they didn't deny their Judaism. All they had to do was say, I'm not a Jew. Very simple thing. Just say they're not Jewish, and that's it, they would be saved. Not one Jew did it. Mordechai had such an effect on the Jewish people that they suddenly realized their true identity from inside, their own identity. They didn't do it in order to please Mordechai. They were going to be dead. It just made it impossible for them to deny the truth. They couldn't deny the truth. Made it impossible for them because there was pressure. Right? As soon as the world gave them a choice, either Judaism or life, they said, I want Judaism. Life without Judaism is not life. They chose Judaism is true life. That's what true life is. And so that's how the miracle of Purim happened. But then there's a third level. This is what we learned. A third level. That when the Jews aren't being pressured from the outside, and they aren't forced against the wall, and there is no Achashverosh or Stalin or Haman or whatever that's pressuring them into holding on to their Jewish identity and to crushing themselves, then nevertheless, they crush themselves. What do they crush themselves from? From the fact that God is not revealed everywhere in the world, that there's one corner in the world where people don't feel God. They don't feel they're being created. They don't feel they're here for a purpose. They don't feel that the Torah is true and that it's God's will. If there's one person in the world, that should make you crushed. Crushed. Feel terrible. I got to do something. I have to do something about it. That's the job of the Rebbes in every generation. The leaders of every, that's the idea of the Moshiach. That all the time that godliness is not revealed in the world, everywhere, as long as people worship anything except for the Creator, or they don't worship anything. I mean, that's impossible. Everybody worships something. At least they worship themselves. So anytime a person even there's one person in the world that does not worship the Creator of the universe, that does not appreciate, has gratitude to the Creator for creating them, one person, then I feel bad. Why? Because the whole world depends on me. And each person says that to himself, and each person takes it seriously. So what are you going to do? How are you going to change the whole world? What are you going to do? So the answer is you have to do just a little bit of good. You open up the door, God will do the rest. I think you all know the story. Maybe I'll even tell the story today. Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. Excuse me. It was the time of the Talmud. Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, and he was tremendously poor, and he found this beautiful, huge rock in the desert or somewhere, and he wanted to bring it to Jerusalem, that it should be put in in front of the Holy Temple or somewhere. It should be put in the grounds in front of the temple, whatever it was. So he wanted to bring it, but the thing weighed like 400 tons, and he couldn't. So he figured, okay, I'll shine the thing up, look really nice. And he asked these men that came by, will you help me carry this? And they said, we want money. And he didn't have any money. So he finally found a group of men that passed by, just happened to pass by, and they said, sure, we'll take it. You can pay us when you get to Jerusalem. They said, okay. So they said, okay, but you have to help us. So what am I going to help? The thing weighs 400 tons. I don't even know how you guys can lift it up. So no, you have to put your hand underneath it and lift it up. What's that going to do? But that was a condition. So he put his hand under it, closed his eyes, and the next second they were in Jerusalem. So he said, okay, wait here, guys. I'm going to go and get money. He went and he got the money up. His friends loaned him money. He had a lot of friends in Jerusalem. And they gave him money, and he came back to the people that weren't there. And so he went and asked Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Gamliel said that these men were angels. So he said, one second, if they were angels, why did I have to put my hand underneath and help them? See, because angels help you. They don't do the whole thing themselves. Ideally, they want you to do something. So it's the same thing with us. We have to do something. But you have to do that something. And the something that you do to alleviate the exile in the world, to reveal God, it has to be something that comes from you, not because you're told to do it. You have to really feel it. You have to be crushed. You have to be crushed. On the other end, you have to be happy. You can't get things done if you're not happy. So on the inside, you have to be crushed. That's the job of the Rebbes, is that they make us feel crushed from the fact that we're in exile, that God is not revealed everywhere, that there is war in the world and addictions in the world and misery in the world. and etc. Okay. So the Rebbe explained before. So is this three people? So the Rebbe explained before that there's two levels of the soul that bring us to have faith in the Creator. Because you can't understand the Creator. You can understand aspects of the Creator, but you can't understand what the Creator is. But you believe that there's the Creator. After all, we're just creations. We can't, so we're just creations. We can't understand what the Creator is. We can't understand even what it means to create something. There's no, right? Scientist, it's not part of science. That's what I just maybe throw something in. They have all these reasons for. I learned philosophy in university, so they have all these books by what is it, Saint Anselm or somebody. I don't even remember these guys. This was like 60 years ago. Not 60 years ago. I guess it was like almost. Yeah, it was almost 60 years. So they have these books. These theologists, and they have all these reasons for believing in God. The teleological reason and the other reason, I don't even remember the names of them. But anyway, things don't create themselves, etc. But that's not all those reasons. You can't say the world came from itself. Didn't come from itself. It must come from God. What does that mean? What does it mean the world come from God? What does it mean? If you look in the world, you can't see God. There's no God. Nothing comes from nothing. Doesn't make any sense. How can something come from nothing? It's not logical. It's not scientific. It's not anything. Everything else comes from nothing. What is nothing? What is nothing? You can't even imagine what is nothing. And then there's God, who seems to be some sort of a something. So he creates everything from nothing. So if it wasn't from nothing, it was from God. So God must be a something. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. So the answer is right. It doesn't make any sense. It's faith. It's faith. It's a feeling, it's a sense, just like you see things with your eyes, you hear things with your ears, is you perceive God with faith. And it's above understanding. And every Jew has this. That's the essence of what a Jew is. It's a certainty. It says the Rebbe, there's two reasons for this certainty. One reason is because the soul sees God. And the other one is that it's just the essence of the soul. It's even above that. Essence of the soul, above even seeing. Okay, so let's go. Here we go. We can say that which it says that if when you're crushed, you reach the source of light, the me'or, the lamp. It says you reach the source of light, the source of creation, the source of the spiritual. Yeah, I don't know what am I doing here. 1 second. There we go. In order to get this level of the me'or, the source of all being, me'or. This level of the me'or, the source of all being, the Jewish people are connected to God. So just as God is the me'or, he's the source of everything, also the Jewish people, the essence of their soul is also connected to the essence of God, of the soul, Hamidkale, which is revealed by means of being crushed from the fact that we're being in exile. That revealing the essence of the soul from crushing yourself, from the fact that we're in exile, because the essence of the soul is a personal thing. It's me. It's not just the spiritual, mystical, occult level that's somewhere. That's the real me. That's the real essence of what the Jew is. He Nali, this is higher, revealing the essence of the soul because you're crushed from the fact that we're in exile. This is higher than the revealing the essence of the soul by means of self-sacrifice. In other words, in the time of Mordechai, the Jews had self-sacrifice for God because they were pressured from the outside. That revealed the essence of their soul. They were willing to lose everything for the sake of Judaism. That revealed the essence of the soul, but that's not as high. It's not at a high of a level. It's not as deep an essence of the Jewish soul as it is when no one is pressuring us, when we're pressuring ourselves. But Ian who that Me'atamim, one of the reasons on this that the Matan Torah and the Jewish people, when they received the Torah, it was only the beginning of receiving the Torah. And in the days of Achashverosh, 900 years later, that's when they actually did receive the Torah. That's what it says in the Megillah, right? The Jews accepted what they began to do in Mount Sinai. They didn't really accept the Torah at Mount Sinai. It waited until Achashverosh. Why did it wait till Achashverosh? Because the point of the Torah is self-sacrifice, is crushing yourself. That which the Jewish people, when they received the Torah, they said, we will do whatever it says in the Torah, and then we will understand it in Matan Torah. This is because Shekaf Aleim Hargagis, it says that God forced them. It says in the Talmud that God held the mountain over their heads and said, either accept the Torah or I'll negate you. Chassidut explains the mountain is also a synonym for love, and that God held this love, the mountain, he held this love over their heads, showed them how much he loves them, and they had to accept the Torah. It was a Gilu Milamayla, it was from above. So just think about it. The Jews, God took them out of Egypt. He split the sea, gave them bread from heaven. He took them to Mount Sinai. God did everything. So the Jewish people were they were like helpless, like little babies. And God said, okay, you're going to accept the Torah? Of course they're going to accept the Torah. After God did so much good for them, they were forced. They said, listen, we'll do whatever it says in the Torah, and then we'll understand it. But in the days of Achashverosh, so if so, they were forced. It wasn't really them that was receiving the Torah. They were forced to receive the Torah. But in the days of Achashverosh, in the days of Achashverosh, they accepted on their own, each person individually. Right? No person snuck into the back door of City Hall and said, listen, I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Jew. Let me live. Let me live. Nobody did it. Right? Every Jew knew they could just say, I'm not a Jew. Right? And they would live. All the Jews said, no, we're Jews, Shema Yisrael, on their own, each one individually. We can say, that this faith that the Jewish people have, because of this, that the soul above it sees godliness. That's like what it was in the time of Achashverosh. This is something like Sheikdimu Nasa V'Nishma. This is a little bit sort of like what the Jews did in Mount Sinai. At Mount Sinai, they were forced, let's say, by love. God, they show how good God is. But they were forced. The same thing in the days of Achashverosh. They were forced. Because it was a revelation from above. But in the days of Achashverosh was the receiving, they received on their own. This was because suddenly there was revealed inside their attachment to God from the essence of the soul. So in the time of giving of the Torah, so they knew that they were helpless and they accepted God. But in the days of Achashverosh, they weren't helpless. They had a choice. Right? And when the Torah was given, they had no choice to say, oh, we don't want the Torah. Of course they wanted the Torah. Why not? God was giving them everything. They'll take everything that God says they're willing to do, as long as they're being, there's an outside influence. In the days of Achashverosh, though, they had a choice. In the days of Achashverosh, they could have said, okay, enough of this Judaism business, right? We're only getting troubles, right? They're going to kill us because we're Jews. Who needs it? They said, no, we're Jewish. We don't care what happens. So they did it on their own. That came from the essence of the soul. This came from the essence of their being. In the days of Achashverosh, that's really receiving the point of the Torah, the godliness of the Torah. In more detail, we can say, when the essence of the soul is revealed, there are two levels of the essence of the soul. The Gilui Etzem and Neshama, the essence of the soul because of Mesirut Nefesh, of self-sacrifice, like in the days of Achashverosh, or like the Hasidim under Stalin, they were willing to give their lives for Judaism. But Yesh Lomar, we can say, the Kochos Giluyim, that in regard to the revealed powers, this is like an additional thing. Like we can see, like in many people, that when they were in Russia, for instance, in the Gezerah of Torah and Mitzvahs, doing Torah and mitzvahs, and that was Chabad. That was the thing of Chabad, right? The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he took the whole movement of Chabad and made it for only one thing: educating Jews about the Torah against Stalin. Stalin's wishes was that no one would know about Torah, no one would think about God. That's Stalin's wishes. and that the communism was going to take over the world, and the only way that communism would succeed if people just left this crazy ideas about God helping you and God this. Of course, communism didn't help anybody; it just killed everybody, and it just threw the whole world into all of Russia into just poverty. But nevertheless, you wanted to get rid of Judaism, and the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, Chabad will be destroyed. The whole movement, everything, but we're not going to give in even one moment to Stalin. We're going to educate the children. Jews are going to know about Judaism. The Rebbe himself, if he would have been killed, God forbid, the previous Rebbe, when they took him into prison, that pretty much would have put an end to Chabad. They wouldn't have had any leader. There wouldn't have been any leader. It would have been easy for them to lose their motivation. It would have been like Moses on Mount Sinai, right? The Jews worshiped the golden calf. And nevertheless, the previous Rebbe said, I'm not going to. And when he was in prison, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, there were many times when he defied them, and death was one instant away. If he would have just given in to them a little bit, they would have made it easier for him. And the previous Rebbe, and he defied them in every step. Every step. The death was looking him in the face the whole entire time he was there. And nevertheless, he said, I'm not going to pay any attention to you. I'm not going to make one movement even that's going to show that you're the boss. And just incredible. But nevertheless, the force was coming. The fact that the Jews revealed their Judaism was because they were forced to do so. They had actual self-sacrifice. We see that there was a lot of Hasidim. They had self-sacrifice. We did this last week. A lot of self-sacrifice for many, many years. But when it came afterwards to a country, right, they left Russia. They got away from Stalin, and they went to France, or they went to England. They went to America. They came to Israel. We see that when it was possible for them to do Torah and the commandments openly, easily, right, in big buildings above the ground with windows where everybody could look in. Right, in Stalin's Russia, you had to learn like maybe 5 boys in a basement, and they closed up all the windows. All of a sudden, they came to America, everything was open. All of a sudden, we see you don't see so much the self-sacrifice that they had before. Why? Because the fact that they said there was self-sacrifice many years, because She'ir B'hem, there was revealed the essence of the soul, which is above their personality, and it didn't really change their actual personality. And now a person could say, 1 second, so they didn't, I mean, of course they didn't have self-sacrifice. They didn't need it. Who needs self-sacrifice? Who needs self-sacrifice? That's like, why be under pressure all the time? That's some sort of a paranoia or something like that, right? A paranoia. Why live an open, free life? Well, what do you have to be, what's so necessary about self-sacrifice? Says the Rebbe exactly the opposite. The fact is that we need self-sacrifice more now than ever. Why? Because we're in exile. And the only way to get rid of the exile, 1 second, excuse me, I didn't see it. Did you hear? Here we go. The only way to get rid of the exile is that we have to have self-sacrifice. The essence of a Jew is that he wants the whole entire world to be good. That's the essence of a Jew. The essence of a Jew is he doesn't care about himself. He wants the whole entire world to be a good place. That's what he wants. That everyone in the world should appreciate every instant of life. And every human being should act like a human being. Act like the creator of God. A creation of God, I'm sorry. a creation of God. It should be, right? It says that every human being is made in the image of God. God is the creator. Every human being is potentially a creator. You can create good things, make good things. As long as there's famine, as long as there's worries, depression, oppression, right, drugs, terrible things going on in the world, diseases, people can't be free to do. As long as that's the essence of a Jew, is that if you see that there's one place in the world that's not good, you feel bad and you want to do something about it. And the way you do something about it is do more good, right? Like the story I told you about putting his hand under the rock. You do something good, the angels will do the rest. That's what the essence of the soul is, the essence of the. Okay, so when the Jews were in Russia and they were being pressured from outside, so they demonstrated self-sacrifice in the Jewish soul and everything, but it didn't really affect their personalities. It doesn't affect their personality. When they were underdressed, like a soldier, when the time of war, that's why a lot of these soldiers, they get PTSD. When they're in the war, they're excellent, right? They're reacting every second, and they know. But when there's no war, so there's no bullets to duck, and there's no clear enemy, and all of a sudden everything has just changed, and the pressure is gone. So what do you do now? Then your old personality comes back, and it didn't really fit with the war personality. So everything becomes confused. Okay, but unlike a regular soldier, the Jews is in the time of war, it's abnormal, and therefore you have to demonstrate self-sacrifice. But by the Jews, it's not that way. Demonstrating self-sacrifice, that's what's normal by the Jews, because there's always what to fix up. That's why God created man. God created man. Just think about it. God created man, and he put him into Gan Eden. It says the world was like heaven, and he put man here to fix it up. And there's always what to do. You can always improve the world. You can always add more love and more meaning and more health and more happiness into the world. The Zesh Etzem and Neshama, that with the essence of the soul, this is the essence of the Kochos of Giluyim, that the essence of the soul is not just another level of the soul, it's the essence, but is the essence of your personality. Hu She'etzem and Neshama, that the essence of the soul is the essence of them, and it's not. One second. 1 minute. I'm sorry. I went off the wrong track over here. It says the essence of the soul is the essence of the revealed powers. We said this is the essence of the soul, is their essence. It's not relevant to the revealed powers themselves. It was how it's revealed. Your day-to-day life. Day-to-day life is not affected when Stalin is forcing you to be a Jew and reveal your essence of your soul. The essence of the soul, that it's broken and crushed because we're in exile, that affects every moment of your natural life. Shagam kochas giluim, even your revealed powers, your natural personality, is kamochad, becomes one with your essence. So everything you do, everything you say, everything you see, everything you feel, it's always going to be connected to this goal. How can I make the world the way God wants it to be? The world is not the way God wants it to be, and I want it to be the way God wants it to be. How can I do that? Is by taking every aspect of my personality and also making it the way God wants it to be. Dynamic, positive, assertive. But Yesh Lomar, we can say, the Zesha Etzem and Neshama, that the soul and the essence of the soul, and the tziyur, the revelation of the soul, is like two things, right? The essence of your Judaism and your personality are two separate things. This is because Shagam Etzem and Neshama, because the essence of the soul is not really being revealed. That's only a level. Hageder Shalohi Lamayla Mitzira Kochos. Because you're saying that the essence of your soul is one thing, and then there's me as another thing. Me as another thing, right? The people used to write to the Rebbe. One person wrote to the Rebbe and said, I'm a professor in mathematics, and I'm also a religious Jew. And the Rebbe would send, thank you very much for your letter, and etc. I would just like to make one small comment, and that you should write, you wrote that you're a professor and you're also a religious Jew. You should write, I am a religious Jew and I'm also a professor. In other words, the main thing in your life is that you're a religious Jew. But the fact of the matter is even then, it's still two things. You're a religious Jew and I'm also a professor. But it should be that I'm a religious Jewish professor. Oh, that's good. That's good. In other words, your connection to God is revealed in everything that you do. According to this, we can say that what we said, that the soul, which is revealed by the self-sacrifice, like in the day of Mordechai, this is the essence of the soul, like it is, but it's like it is defined, be'inyan hapshita, that is removed from your personality. Or the light of the soul, which was revealed by means of being crushed for the fact that you're in exile. This is the revelation of the essence of the soul as it is rooted in the essence. So in other words, you have two levels of the essence of the soul. One level of the essence of the soul because it sees God, and that's revealed by being pressured from outside by means of Stalin or Haman or whatever. And that's like another level of your soul. It doesn't necessarily affect your personality because it's only utilized in unique situations. And then we have the true essence of the soul, which is even above that the soul sees God. And that's revealed from the fact that we're in exile and we want to change it. We can't stand that the fact the world is in exile. We can't bear the fact that God is not revealed everywhere. And that really reveals that's not being pressured from the outside. That's being pressured from us. We can just take it easy, and there's no Stalin, there's no Haman. We can learn Torah, we can do commandments. That's the goal. Says the Rebbe, it's not the goal. As long as the world is not fixed up, the essence of your Jewish soul has not been revealed. That's the essence of your soul. Just like you take a non-Jewish, non-religious person, non-religious Jew, you say, put on tefillin. Why? Because a Jew wants to put on tefillin. I don't want to put on tefillin. He says, yes, you do. Every Jew wants to put on tefillin. Maybe your Yetzer Hora doesn't want to. Maybe you don't know you want to, but that's your identity. That's who you really are. Putting on tefillin is not a thing you do because you're religious or because of something. You're a Jew. A Jew puts on tefillin. That's all. It's a natural part of his soul. Okay, when he starts doing it, he starts to realize, yes, okay, it's something that's in my soul. Then comes along Haman and says, anyone who says that they're a Jew, I'm going to kill him. And he says, I'm a Jew. Oh, that's another level of the essence of your soul. Why did you do that? Because that's also the essence of my soul. That's a deeper level. That's a deeper level. Oh, that's another. Then we have even a deeper level yet. The Rebbe explains that second level, that's that the soul sees godliness. But that's still separate from your personality. The deepest level is because God is not revealed everywhere. Moshiach has not yet brought the geula of the world. That should crush us inside. That's the essence of the Jewish soul. The essence of the Jewish soul is that he cannot rest until the whole world is filled with the awareness of the Creator. The whole world reveals their soul. And this is, okay, Yesh L'Kesher, we can attach this also to what it says. I don't think we're going to finish today. Huh? We're going to have to do this tomorrow. All right. Maybe we should. Okay, we can also attach this to what it says in the Mimer, that it says, Ata Tzave ben Israel, God said to Moses, to Moshe, you, Moshe, command, and we said the word Tzave means connect. You connect the Jewish people to me, to God. They should bring to you this olive oil that was crushed. After Moshe after Moshe commands and attaches the Jewish people, then the Jewish people bring to Moshe this oil. What does it mean? That the Jewish people, by means of their service, they reveal light in Moshe. So in a simple way, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's the Moshiach. You want the Moshiach to do his job, then you have to give him the oil. You have to crush yourself, and that adds on light to Moses. That's what it says. You have to bring this crushed olive oil to Moses. And the Rebbe asked, why bring it to Moshe? Moshe didn't light the candles. He didn't light the lamps. Moshe had to give this oil to Aaron. Bring it directly to Aaron. He said, no. It's telling you a big secret. Moshe, you connect the Jews to God. And after you connect the Jews to God, and the Jews demonstrate their total self-sacrifice because we're in exile, then that brings the oil to Moshe. That strengthens Moshe. It makes Moshe more powerful that he can reveal himself and fix the whole world. The Yesh Lomer, we can say one of the explanations is that when we serve God, Zesh Moshe Mitzvah, namely that Moses connects Umakasher and attaches the Jews to God, who Shehu Zan Mafarnes et Amuna, Moshe, it says that he nourishes our faith and makes our connection to God stronger and more real, more part of our life. Be'amuna tiyeh nosef, that faith, but it should be nosef in addition to how it is in the revealed parts of the soul. That your faith When it comes to Judaism, Judaism becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. You see, there's people like that in Israel. I mean, I'm not making a general thing, but usually the size of a person's kippah that he puts on his head, right? He puts it on the kippah. So some people have a little tiny kippah on their head, a little tiny one, and then it gets bigger. Usually, the bigger that it is, the more it demonstrates that their feeling of Judaism is more demonstrated in their day-to-day life. Usually, because what is a kippah, by the way? A kippah on the head, it's called a yarmulke, is the fear of God. You're aware that there's something above you. You're aware that God, He's the creator. I'm not the creator. God is the king of the universe. I'm not the king of the universe. Usually the fear of God. It's a healthy fear, right? It's a healthy fear. It's like you're afraid to drive on the wrong side of the road. Why? You're a coward. Right? You're afraid to go and beat up old ladies on the street. Why? Because you're afraid that they're going to get caught by the police. Right? You're afraid to go into a bank and steal. Why? Because you're not a good thief. You think, and you're afraid because you're afraid of the truth. It's a bad thing to drive on the wrong side of the road or to beat up old ladies or to steal. Right? That's a healthy type of a fear. A healthy type of a fear. It's the same type of a thing that the Rebbe is trying to say. The more and more that the feeling of Judaism enters into a person's life, so that it is connected to your day-to-day personality. That's called the kochos hagiluim, the revealed part of your personality, your character. Because the soul, but nevertheless, it still is a separate thing. It still is a separate thing. It's the thing you put on your head. There's me, and then there's the religion. I'm more religious. I am religious. There's two. There's the I, and there's the religion. I am a professor, and I'm also a religious Jew. Or I'm a religious Jew, and I'm also a professor. But there's two different things going on here. Why? Because that comes from waking up the part of your soul which sees God. Mitzad and neshama shalamai, that it sees God. That's the essence of the soul. And it's even though it's the essence of the soul, but it still is the essence of the soul that's something separate from me. It's not connected to the fact that God creates the whole world, everything, all the time. It's that God is above the world. He controls everything. Yishlom, we can say that that's also what it says, Tzave ben Israel, that Moses, he connects the Jewish people. Moses, you connected the Jewish people means that Moses, he's the one that connects the Jewish people to one to the other. Because the essence of the Jewish souls, all the Jewish people are really one. And by means of the service of the Jewish people, after it's drawn down, the Jewish people draw down the essence of their soul, that also the revealed powers of the Jews, namely your revealed personality, will be matin, the etzem and neshama. From the essence of your soul, all the Jews are the same. We're all Jews, right? All Jews. But the problem is that Jews are all different from one another. And Jews get on each other's nerves, and all Jews do have nerves. And so therefore, it's very difficult for you to either be a regular, normal person, and at the same time, to see something positive and love every other Jew. Very difficult. What you can do is don't be a normal person. Then you can sort of forego all of your natural feelings. And then you can find something good in every Jew. You overlook that he gets on my nerves and you can overlook it. But it's like two separate things. He says, but the idea is supposed to be that even from your revealed powers, that you're also a bit able to, al yedei by means of this, there's made an addition, the essence of the soul itself is revealed by means of Moshe, v'yichu elecha. By means of that, by means of revealing the essence of your soul, your Jewish soul, into even the outside, how you get along with people, your day-to-day life, that adds power to the essence of your soul. That's what it means that Moses, he takes and consequently that adds power to the leader of the Jewish people, to the Moshe. By means of this, it reveals the Shorsha Amiti, the true source of the Jewish people as it is rooted in the essence, not just that it sees God. As we're going to talk about, God willing, is this? Yeah. We'll just do this. And to make a comment that by means of this, there's also added on also in the unity of the Jewish people. That the unity of the Jewish people, by means of the essence of the soul, which is revealed in them, this, which is because it sees God, this is like an extra thing. That's what I just told you. Therefore, this unity is by means of they make their soul the main thing and their body separate. That's the 32nd chapter of the Tanya. You want to have unity of the Jewish people? Don't pay so much attention to your natural reactions to other people. Try to find something good in everybody. That comes from your soul. Even why would you even want to do something like that? How can you do it? Because you activate your soul so it would be above the world, above the world. So that's the aspect of the soul that it sees God. In other words, you see clearly that there's something more than me, my feelings. God is more real than I am, but there's me. There's two things. But when there's revealed the essence of the soul, as it is rooted in God's essence. In other words, every instant of my life is just a total miracle, and it's all, I am nothing except for this amazing miracle and gift that God is creating all the time, right? And therefore, when you look at that, you look at everybody in that way, so everything becomes like a surprise. The world is a happy place, right? By means of this, that all of your personality, your revealed personality, becomes one with your essence. The unit, and therefore it's easy to see that all the Jews are the same way. Therefore, the Jews there's unity in everything that they do, whether it's in business, even in physical things, putting on their shoes. Everything is relevant to the essence of the soul. In other words, everything is relevant to the Creator. So if you look at another person, especially another Jew, you say that another Jew, he's a miracle, right? This person I'm a miracle. Everything, I'm looking at everything, trying to look at everything from God's point of view. So therefore, I, so to speak, have nothing of my own. And if I have nothing of my own, means even in the physical, mundane things of the world, all I want to do is what God wants. And what does God want? That this world should be a good place. That's the job of Moses. That's the job of Moses. That's what it means. The Jewish people have to crush themselves until this actually becomes a reality. Jews have to force themselves to do good, think good, speak good, feel godliness as much as possible until it becomes part of your everyday, every moment of your day-to-day life. Self-sacrifice that Mordechai had, but not against Haman or against Stalin, but for the Creator, to reveal God in everything. And if you want to say against anything, against the exile. And that's our possibility. That's the happiness of the Jewish people. That's why Purim is such a happy holiday, as we're going to finish, God willing, tomorrow. I hope is that right. Yes. Okay, good.